Oh, that was good. Miss P?
Hello! And welcome. It is 12:58. Welcome to mentorship today. We are about to get started with coming to you live to your mentorship classes. And we are super excited to be here to go over graduation requirements and address some really specific things that we might have just kind of gone over really quickly and not been able to really go into a lot of detail. This presentation is not designed to stress you out in any way. It is designed to be very informative and hopefully accessible, and there will be lots of opportunities for you to ask some questions. If you could all do weird, my computer muted itself. If you could all do yourselves a favor and please put your phones away. Please, right now. I'll give you guys like a few seconds. My phone is nowhere to be found because I am here with you all, and I hope that you are all here with us. So please do that. Do yourselves a favor, do your neighbors a favor, do your mentorship teachers a favor, and please put your phones off and away. And we're going to jump in right now.
Okay, we are going to do our daily announcements first. So first things up, the library will be mostly closed through today for AP testing. Please don't pull or knock on the doors. Miss Scott will be out for the rest of the week. If you are a senior and need to return books to be able to pick up your cap and gown, please find Miss New. All right, you got that? Don't disturb the library. Find Miss New if you're a senior and you need your cap and gown. Next up, seniors who would like to present a song or musical excerpt or perform the national anthem at graduation can audition today. Today, May 12th, from 4 to 6 p.m. after school in the Performing Arts Building room, C104. All right. Songs can have 1 to 4 people and should be no longer than 3 minutes total. Up to 2 groups will be selected, as well as 1 solo or group, up to 4. So to perform the national anthem, only microphones will be provided, no instruments. Fill out the interest form on Schoology and email Miss Amy Mell at ajmell@seattleschools.org for an audition time. All right, and Ms. Becampro will add some more announcements.
Great. Okay, the Drama Club is meeting to ratify our new club constitution and elect next year's officers soon. If you are interested in becoming involved with Drama Club, now is the time. Meet us in Miss Sullivan's room, which is room 109 on May 18th. That is next week. For more information, contact Dylan Rodriguez Curry at 1DP Curry, Currie. And side note, the counseling team checked out an incredible production of The Addams Family this last weekend. And let me tell you, it was wonderful. So if you're interested in the Drama Club, now's the time because they're about to get super popular and exclusive, and you're going to want to get in there now. Next up, congratulations to our spring sports. Baseball beat Bishop Blanchette yesterday, 5-2 to qualify for state, which will take place next weekend. And our soccer team beat Seattle Prep 2-1 in the Metro semifinals, and we'll play Lakeside in the finals on Friday at 7:30. Love when public schools beat those private schools. Oh, feels good. Track and field district finals are also on Friday. Keep an eye on the Lincoln Seattle Athletics account on Instagram to support our teams. I don't know who's reading the announcements after me. Who's next?
I get to.
Woohoo!
Are you interested in photography and filmmaking? At Camera Club, we create projects and work with other filmmakers and photographers. Come to room 243 after school on Tuesdays. And in need of a car wash, local rowing team Green Lake Crew is selling car wash tickets for only $10 each to fundraise for the Henley Regatta. Get one quick. They are running out. I gotta get a few of those. Hey, Mixed Donato.
Yeah.
It's the joke of the day. You
Oh
ready?
my goodness. I'm ready.
All right.
Tell me the joke.
Check this out, 9th graders. We're doing some, you guys might not know this, but we got AP testing happening. We're gonna start doing some SBA testing here shortly. But so the joke of the day is, why are zoo animals horrible test takers?
Oh my goodness, I can't figure that out, Mr. Milwaukee. Why?
Too many cheetahs.
Oh.
That was pretty good. I like that one.
That's one of my faves.
All right, moving on. Today, we are going to be going over the 4 buckets of graduation. Each one of the buckets that we talk about today need to be filled in order to receive that diploma in 2025. They are graduation pathways, they are 24 credits, they are your high school and beyond plan, and your service learning. And we're going to go deep into these buckets today to explain more about them and what you need to know in order to walk across that stage. It's going to be a lot of information. We are not here to overwhelm you, and we are going to pause after every bucket is filled and explained to answer any questions that you guys might have in your mentorship classes. So if you have a question, this is going to be really key. You're going to raise your hand, you're going to tell your mentorship teacher, and then your mentorship teacher can put it in the Q&A, which is right here on the side. There might be mentorship teachers in the room that have not done one of these yet. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to whoever is not presenting at the moment to troubleshoot any issues that you might have. But that is going to be our way that we will ask questions. And then we will read them and answer them live after every bucket. So no worries. If there are no questions, we'll just move on. And I think I'm flipping it to Mr. Milwaukee.
All right, 9th graders, I want to just paint the scene for you all. Let's fast forward 3 years ahead. All right, it's going to be June 2025. It's going to be a beautiful day in Seattle, Washington. It's going to be clear skies, 75-degree day, and we're going to all be at Memorial Stadium, beautiful, picturesque Memorial Stadium with the iconic, world-famous Seattle Space Needle behind us. It's going to be a fabulous day. And so here's what's going to happen. I want you to kind of think about these graduation requirements as though you're kind of carrying 4 buckets, and you're going to carry 4 buckets across the stage in exchange for a high school diploma. All right. So that's sort of how we want you all to be thinking about these buckets. All right. So this is one of our fabulous seniors. We're going to pretend they're walking across the stage, right? And so the first bucket that she's going to hand over, I think we can press next now. The first bucket she's going to give to Miss Metzger, and you can see Miss Metzger there has an awesome Lincoln High School diploma. All right, the first bucket that our senior is going to give, or you're going to give, is called the Graduation Pathways bucket. All right, and so you can click on next. The Graduation Pathways bucket is a holdover from a mandate that was made it started in the early 2000s called the No Child Left Behind. Back in the old days, there was only one way to meet the graduation pathways, and it was through testing. And so OSPI has, as I remember as a school counselor, how many families were upset and sad that their student wasn't graduating because their students didn't score high enough on that test, and it was a sad day. It was really not nicely run. And so the state has devised many different ways in which students can meet the graduation pathways requirement, all right? This is one pathway through the English and math pathway, all right? As you can see, the top row, you can meet the pathway by getting high enough on test scores in English and math. You can also meet the pathway by scoring high enough in running start classes or classes that can be done at Lincoln High School that are labeled college in the high school. And those are classes that you're going to be taking at Lincoln High School, not at a college in the high school is not done at another college. It's done here at Lincoln High School. Running start classes happen at our local community colleges. You need to just pass with a D in both of those semesters in order to meet one of the graduation pathways or one of those benchmarks. If you take, there are AP coursework that you can take. On the left-hand side under English options, those are all the options that you're going to have throughout from now until the end of 12th grade that you're going to be able to take to meet the English and the math. Now, the one thing I want to make sure that's clear, if you choose to meet the graduation pathways requirement through the English and math pathway, you only need one benchmark checked from the English options and one benchmark checked from the math options. So if a student scored high enough on the SBA for ELA, check, they would have met that English stand, they would have met it. And if they scored an A in their running start class for math, check, they would have gotten the math requirement. You only need one from English and one from math. And since the students scored high enough on running start math class and high enough on the SBA ELA portion, they would have met this graduation pathways requirement through the English and math pathway. Now we're going to show you another way that you can get this requirement checked off, this graduation pathways requirement checked off. And that's by taking doing the CTE pathway. Now, all you need to meet it with this one is to get 2 credits in one OSPI program area. So at our school, many students take graphic design, oh, I'm blanking out. Video beginning, video advanced, and what's another one? I guess that's enough. If they did graphic design beginning and advanced,
Photography.
that will be, what was that?
Photography.
Photography. All those 3 classes meet the skilled and technical sciences program area. All right. So because that person would have gained 2 credits, this is another way they would have met that graduation pathway or met that graduation pathways requirement through the CTE pathway. All right. And next. And this is the third way that you can meet the graduation pathways requirement is by scoring high enough on the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, otherwise known as ASVAB. All right, and that's the third way that you can get your you can meet the graduation pathways. So students, as you can see, there are many ways that a person can get that graduation pathways requirement met, and most of you will meet them in many very different ways. All right, it's very typical. Our senior class this year, many students met this graduation pathways in like 10 different ways. All right, so no need to worry about it, no need to stress. And you don't need to, what's really great is you don't need to select. Like, we already have this in your planning that you will be meeting this graduation pathways requirement. Your counselors will make sure that this is a part of your graduation plan. If you're ever wondering about it, you're welcome to talk with us, and we can kind of give you some paths on how you're gonna excuse me, ways on how you're going to meet that graduation pathways by the graduation pathways requirement by the end of senior year. All right. So now I guess we open it up for questions if you have any.
We already had a really solid question from Miss
Oh.
So about if this is going to be available afterwards. And yes, this will be available on all of our Schoologies underneath the class of 2025 presentations. Solid question. We know there's a delay, so you might just be looking at our faces for a little bit. We'll wait for a minute or two to see if any questions roll in and then move to the next spot. So this could be a good time for you to maybe sip some of your water, just take a second, take a breath while we find questions.
Ms. Pacampra, Mr. Lim, Ms. Donato, did I miss anything on that one? Is there anything you feel like needs to be added?
I think you said this, but I was also answering questions from teachers. I think the important thing is that many of you will meet this requirement without even realizing that you've done it. So you will take the SBAC and pass, and no one will kind of tell you that necessarily. Or you'll take your SAT and you'll pass, or you'll take those classes that we talked about and you'll pass. And we expect that many of you will meet this requirement in multiple ways. It's not like a choose one pathway and stick to it. It's like choose them all and see which ones stick. So I think that's also the confusing part about this, is that it looks like you kind of have to choose one, but you don't. You'll attempt them all. I don't know if you said that exactly. I might have missed it, but that's important.
Okay. Mr. Weather, I'm going to publish this. Mr. Weathers asked a question. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me go back here. What's the difference? What's the difference between AP and college in the classroom? College and high school in the classroom. Ms. P, why don't you take this one?
Sure, happy to. AP it stands for Advanced Placement. That is curriculum and subject matter that is determined by a big corporation called the College Board. It's used worldwide. It is a worldwide curriculum. So if you are sitting in a class that has AP in front of it, you will be covering the same content that is going to be covered worldwide in other classrooms. College and the high school is more locally defined. Here at Lincoln, we partner with two different colleges that I'm aware of, North Seattle and Edmonds Community College. Our teachers get trained in college curriculum and they deliver that curriculum in the high school. That curriculum, if you pass that class, then you also have the opportunity to purchase that credit from that institution. So students that are in a college and the high school class, like at North Seattle, can then purchase college credit that goes on a transcript from North Seattle, and then you have a transcript from North Seattle College. Those are the two main differences. Hopefully I answered that sufficiently.
I think since we're kind of running up on some time, we should probably just move forward. So I have the pleasure of passing it on to Mr. Lim, who's going to talk to you about another bucket that you're going to exchange in for a high school diploma. Mr. Lim.
Okay, let's talk about the 24 credit bucket. This one is equally as important as the graduation pathways, and the next buckets you'll see too. So as you can see, our graduate here is getting ready to hand another bucket to Ms. Metzger. All right, so next slide, and we'll jump into the details of what the 24 credits are. All right, so here is a breakdown. Maybe you've seen this graphic before, or maybe now when you'll see it, you'll start noticing it around the school or in our classrooms. But here are the 24 credits that you'll need to graduate. And you'll accumulate these credits during all of your years in high school. So follow along with me. Each year you are completing 6 credits, and you're here at Lincoln for 4 years. So 6 times 4 is 24. So you'll need to pass all of your classes in order to eventually finish with 24 credits. Each of those blocks that you see on the screen equal 1 credit. So you typically will take 4 years of English. You'll take at least 3 years of science, math, social studies, health and fitness. You'll take 2 years, art and CTE. You'll take a year. Anything that you take above those minimum required years start to fill into the elective side. So the blue boxes there on the right side. All right. So if you take an extra year of science, that counts as an elective. Extra year of math, that counts as an elective. All right. So on and so forth. So if you have questions about the 24 credits, how you get them, feel free to start asking your mentorship teacher. They can ask us. One additional thing I do want to add is Washington State history. You don't see it listed up there, but it is a requirement as well. So if you are a transfer student who came from a private school or you came from out of state, you likely did not complete Washington State history before coming here. So you'll need to get that done. But not to fret, there are plenty of opportunities for you to get the Washington State history requirement complete during your time here. You can get it done at Saturday school, you can get it done at Bash, and you'll have time until your 12th grade year to get it done. But of course, always the sooner the better. So if you are one of those students who transferred here, or you're not sure if you have it done, email your counselor or come pop by and ask us and we'll let you know.
Just got a great question, Mr. Lamb. Where does world language fall into the 24 credit slide?
Ooh, great question. World language falls under the elective box. So let's say you do Spanish 1 and 2. That would count as 2 credits of elective.
We also got a question about pathways that probably came in on a delay, which is totally fine. The question is, to clarify, they can meet the criteria in more than one pathway, but they have to do at least one. Yes, you can do all of them if you want to. You can do as many as your heart desires. You have to complete one to graduate.
All right, do you want to go to the next slide, y'all? What do you think?
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, let's do it. And then if we get some more, then we'll just address it in the next Q&A.
Beautiful. It's being passed over to me if anyone's wondering. What has been happening, if you're noticing, this is the most glitchy presentation I have done. My computer has been frozen over and over and over this entire presentation, so thank you for your patience. There have been multiple times where I can't click a single button on my screen, so thank you so much. I do see another question though. Do students have to take a full year of art or CTE? Why does it not fall into electives? I'm happy to answer that question. So students need to, yeah, go ahead. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Go for it.
Students do need to take 1 credit of art, 1 credit of CTE. If they take anything more than that, it just falls into that bucket of electives. So when you say, do students have to take a full year of art or CTE? It's a little bit more complicated than that. You don't need to take a full year of 1 course, but you do need to take 2 classes or 2 semesters worth of art and CTE credits. So it doesn't need to be a full year course, but you do need to have at least 1 credit of art and 1 credit of CTE. And then beyond that, it's all elective. I'm gonna hand it over to Ms. Cumbres because I noticed she unmuted herself.
Well, we're getting a lot of questions right now that are really specific to like courses or things like that. And I'm going to say something that's really frustrating. You can find information about specific courses and what category they fall in the course catalog. The course catalog is available to you on the Lincoln website, and that is where you will find that information. So there's a student in Mr. Burris's class that asked that question. Go for it, find it on the course catalog, tell your friends. Miss Irvin had a question about PE waivers, and we are not going to address PE waivers in this presentation. The PE waiver policy can be found in the Counseling Center. We have it attached to every PE waiver. So if you are interested in that, you can just pop by, you can pick up a copy, you can read that on your own time, but that is not what that is not the point of this presentation. And then thirdly, where can you find the list of pathways? Is there a comprehensive list? That's a great question as well. And I believe that we have it in the course catalog, but I could be wrong. So what we'll do though is we will add a kind of a handout, and we'll add it to our Schoology pages, because the state provides this really awesome handout for counselors, and we will just add it to our Schoology pages. That is there for your reference so that you can go and give us a couple days to do that, but that's where we'll put that resource for you. Really good questions. All right.
You can't hear me. I'm going to go into our next thing, which is our high school and beyond plan. And high school and beyond plan is really super important. It's one of those buckets you got to hand over, as you can see here. So bear with me, listen to this part. I am excited to be here, as I always am, and let's go. For your high school and beyond plan, we collaborate to bring Naviance to mentorship lessons focused on a lot of really great things. We focus on goal setting, college exploration, career exploration, academic goals, resume building, skills and talents, all sorts of things are wrapped up into Naviance. Yes, there's going to be moments where things in Naviance don't just work quite as well as you would like them to. Same for me. I'm the Naviance lead at this school, and I'll tell you that Naviance is pretty new. It was launched in the last few years in this district, and right now we are just getting through how we can use this effectively. We're trying to make sure that we're really ironing out any little errors. So it's actually really great feedback for me if you're doing a Naviance lesson to say like any concerns you have with it, any glitches you see in the system, because I get to give that feedback to the people that make it, and then they make it better. So I really appreciate your feedback through all Naviance lessons and making sure that you are really engaged in your classrooms in them, because they're important. And if you want to understand the reason and rhyme behind them, you can come talk to me because I'm the lead. Students are encouraged in high school to change their goals and plans as they move towards graduation to include new interests and knowledge. So I'm saying that because that comes directly from our SPS website, that Naviance is one of those ways that we can explore different interests. And in high school, you might be doing that in clubs, all sorts of different ways. And you can change your plans. Like if you came in 9th grade and you're like, I know I'm doing Running Start and this is exactly how I'm going to do it. And then you're like, you know what? Actually, I really want to take this specific class that we offer here that I'm going to take as a senior at Lincoln, and I don't want to do Running Start full time anymore. That's great. You can, and maybe flip flop. Maybe you decide to do Running Start and you never thought you would. There's so many different ways that your path can change in your high school career, and leaning into Naviance tools can help you understand how you can change your path. Naviance tests are required for graduation. I need you to know that. And it's really important because right now we have seniors about to go across that finish line, and they have to make sure all of their tasks are done. And we have a few seniors that haven't done their resume task, and they're having to work on a resume at the end of their senior year right now. So just make sure that you're really engaging with the lessons that you're seeing in your class. And if you've opted out of Naviance, there are paper forms as to how you're going to complete your high school and beyond plan. Make sure that you connect with your mentorship teacher so I can know that you've opted out, because that's really important information for us to make sure that we're supporting you in completing your high school and beyond plan. I am going to now allow questions, but Naviance is really something that unfolds through time, and you really just need to get it done to make sure that you meet all of your graduation requirements. I know I just stopped talking, but if there's any questions for this one, I'm actually going to just tail it on to the Q&A for the next slide, and I'm going to roll right over to Ms. Pacumbra.
Yeah, it's become pretty clear that I think different classes are in different places in the presentation. So I think just as you have questions, submit them, and then we'll just pause to answer at different times throughout the presentation. So I'm going to talk about service learning hours, which is your fourth and final bucket, as the student below has completed it and is about to hand over their bucket to Ms. Metzger. You need 60 service learning hours in order to graduate, and that can be done over the course of your 4 years. It can be done however you would like it to be done. There is a common misconception that it needs to be 15 per year. I think that is, that's, if you want to do it that way, you can, but honestly, if you want to do 60 hours in a week and get it all done over the summer, this summer, go for it. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about the service learning requirement, its intention, and what we are hoping that we see in your process of choosing how you meet this requirement, and also your deeper reflection. So the 60 service learning hours has 3 requirements that we're looking for. Service learning should be a collaboration between you and your community, and you're going to define your community for your own self. So that could be your community in your literal community, like your neighborhood. It could be your school. It could be your sports team. It could be your something related to your identity. It could be all kinds of things. So how community is defined is up to you. The 60 service learning hours should be a relationship between your skills and your interests and your abilities, and how you are giving that back to your community. So what I mean by that is that it is not the intention of the service learning requirement is not to, I said this really well yesterday and I'm not remembering exactly my words, but I will say the intention of the service learning is not for you to feel like it is like you are gaining anything personally. You are giving. This is you doing an act of service and learning from that act. So what we love to see is students being really intentional about how they choose, how they give, and looking at how they can give deeper and longer over a period of time. It is definitely really meaningful to be able to commit to something over a period of time, and to be able to really put your whole your whole self into that commitment, because part of the requirement is going to ask you to reflect on your learning. And when we read reflections, we really look at how deeply and serious a student takes this. So if you are asked to reflect on why you chose this, and you say, because I have to, then we're probably going to say we're not going to approve that. And we're going to ask you to think a little bit deeper about it. One of the questions that we get a lot is about how this can be met. And actually, Mr. Nelson just asked a great question about students doing service learning at a variety of organizations. They can be done however you want them to be done. I am not going to, and I think I speak for the team where I say, I'm not going to be very picky about how you need it. I'm just going to be picky about your intention. And I'm going to really ask and desire that you are thinking through what your personal skills and abilities and interests are, and how you are giving those back to your community. And I'm going to say that over and over again, because I really think it's the most important piece. So if you have a few different commitments and you're volunteering at all of them, I think that's great. That's totally fine. The takeaway from this is hopefully that you are learning how to kind of incorporate civic engagement or community service, or whatever phrase you want to use, into your broader life, and that you're going to take this into whatever comes with you after high school, because your service learning shouldn't stop at 60 hours, and your service learning shouldn't stop when you graduate high school. It really continues on throughout your whole life. And I think I speak for the whole team when I say that we're all engaged in different volunteering in different ways that are personal and meaningful to us. And if you would like to know what we do in our spare time to give back to our communities, I think we'd be happy to talk to you about that individually. But that is the gist of the 60 service learning hours, and I'll take a little pause for questions, or if I've missed anything, the team
We
wants
have
to
one
check.
really, really great question. How does service learning hours work for the summer before 9th grade?
Oh, that is a really good question. If you are a 9th grader that did service learning in the summer before you got here, you can apply 15 of those hours to that requirement. So for example, if you volunteered at a animal shelter and you like walked dogs all summer, even if you did 100 hours, you can apply 15 of those hours to graduation. And you can get the form. Oh, the other important thing is the forms. Where are the forms? The forms for service learning are in the counseling center, and they're also on our Schoology page. Stop by, say hello, come pick up a form, and let us know if you have any questions about that form.
Go ahead, Mr. Malone.
Yeah, Ms. P, I just want to add on, I know many students ask the question when I should turn in my service learning hours. And students, I'd like to just share with you that whenever you are done with a spot, like Mr. Nelson asked the question if there are many places, organizations that you can do your service learning. If you're done with a spot, like let's say if you participate in service learning with in a karate dojo, right? If you're done with that experience, go ahead and log in those hours, do the reflection, and turn that in so we can get that on your into your profile. So get it in as soon as you can, and when you're complete, just keep turning it in. You don't have to wait till you get all 60. Just turn them all in as you get them.
If you have any questions about how you, if you're like struggling and you're not quite sure how to navigate what you would choose for service learning, schedule a meeting with your counselor by logging into your Schoology, to our Schoology pages and booking an appointment, and we can help you walk through what that might look like. Or you can stop by the counseling center when we have someone out front to add you to our calendars. But I think it's not always easy to think about what your interests and skills and abilities are, and it's certainly not always easy to think about how you can give back to your community, but we can help you. So please let us do that. And if you have any other questions, then you can book an appointment and we can take it from there.
I also just remembered on our Schoology pages, we have a service learning folder. In that folder, you will see sort of tips on how to find some service learning. So if you're thinking about it, like, I don't know what to do, go to your school counselor Schoology page. There's a file that says service learning. Click on that, and then there will be sort of a guide to help you sort of think about where to go and look for service learning opportunities. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we just went over all the buckets, right? We did all the buckets. And remember, it's June 2025. This is going to be you exchanging all those 4 buckets with Miss Metzger. And she's going to hand you over a wonderful, beautiful high school diploma from Lincoln High School that you guys can feel really awesome and proud about. All right. And so that's it.
We can't hear it, Mr. Malaki. You got to put it up, and we're gonna have to ask teachers to share what this song is, but it's too quiet and it's too good of a song to not play
it's
like
so
super.
good. Ninth graders, I'm sorry, I was dadding out over here. The counseling crew often makes fun of me because I'm the oldest one of the group, and I just love my high school days of listening to MC Hammer. Too Legit to Quit was playing.
We support you.
Yeah, and then as you can see, the Lincoln Lynx Counseling Crew have our wonderful bucket hats on to represent the 4 buckets that you're going to be handing over and graduation day. It's going to be so good. Man, I look so good in this picture. I look really great.
Oh, yeah,
I
we
think
look
that's a wrap.
awesome. We look awesome. We look really good.
Yeah, I'm
You
Really
know, yeah. This is how I want, like, my alter ego wants to be that person. That person right there. The
don't
black
think you're that
cable with the
far off.
fat chain.
I don't think you're that far off.
I'm so far off.
This is now a counseling crew conversation.
All right, I think yeah.
I think we're
we
good.
did
We're
it.
gonna hang
We
out.
haven't had any new questions.
Yeah,
So
we'll hang out for a few minutes, and then we're also ahead by like 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah.
But in general, if you have any needs around questions around graduation requirements or mental health needs or anything that you want to chat about, come make an appointment, come stop by. We got you.
yeah, if you have ever anything urgent, you're always welcome to come by the counseling center.
If you have something that's really urgent that you want to talk to your counselor about, like a safety issue or a concern, you can also just stop by and say that. I have an urgent question and I need to talk to somebody, and we will assist you, especially if there's safety concern involved. We're here to help.
Yes.
We're here to look. We're here to look really cool at all times, and we're here to help. That's our job. It's a really good job. It's a really cool job. Looking cool and helping out. We're losing classes. They're dropping like flies.
Maybe you could say we're too cool.
All right, we're going to go ahead and end this live presentation. You can message if you're a mentorship teacher and you still have a question, you can go ahead and just message any of the counseling team and we'll check that out on Teams. We are so grateful to be able to have this moment. We wish we were in that classroom with you. There's so many of you, so that's hard to do, but we're grateful to be in the classroom in this way. And we're just really grateful for y'all listening to this, and thank you so much. I'm just so grateful for this school and this community. We'll see you around.